During the 1930s, the role of women as the subordinate race was firmly re-established due to the Great Depression.
Faces it single-handed. She must know how to cook, know food. She must know how to set her table attractively. She must know how to make her home comfortable and inviting. She must know the worth of labor-saving devices and how best to conserve her time and energy. She must know clothes, how to buy, and how to make them.
This pattern continued throughout the Great Depression, with women staying home, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, and men going out and doing the work. However, December 7th, 1941, as women continued their daily routine, men and women gathered around the radio to hear.
From the NBC newsroom in New York, President Roosevelt said in a statement today that the Japanese have attacked the Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, from the air.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked.
As men rushed to enlist in the Army, job vacancies skyrocketed. In order to fill these vacancies, the government started a propaganda campaign to have women take the roles which men had formerly held. Women began to be riveters. Women began to build airplanes. These women were building the weapons which their brothers, cousins, fathers, and uncles were using in order to fight off Nazi Germany, the Empire of Japan, Fascist Italy. These women continued to be mothers. They continued to be wives. And in many cases they took on other roles. They would collect cans. They would conserve rubber. They would give up wearing their pantyhose. All for the cause. Soon after the start of the war, the military realized they would need to rely heavily on women in order to provide the support they would need. The military quickly established organizations specifically for women. Namely, the WAC, the Women's Army Corps, provided women the opportunity to be Army nurses. They would serve as secretaries, all while serving the same uniform that men did. WASP, or WASP, were women pilots who served for the Air Force in non-combat missions. They would fly planes to the battlefront so that the men could use them. Though the men were the ones who were dropping the bombs over Italy, France, Germany, and Japan, the women were the ones bringing the supplies to the front. They performed the same calisthenics that the Army and Air Force required. Often the women's transport missions, which would actually be longer in length than the men's, they would need to be fit and well trained. The Army devised a new program specifically designed to the needs of women. In fact, when the new B-29 bomber came out, it was women who were chosen to show that the plane was fit to fly. Because, after all, if these women were brave enough to get into the cockpit of this experimental airplane, then so were the men. The women of the WASP represent a new breed of women, willing to risk life and limb for their country while accepting a non-traditional role. Though after the war and into the 1950s, the role of women returned to a more traditional stance, these women were able to prove what was capable of this formerly subordinate sex. The women of the WASP, the WAC, and those Rosie the Riveters out there are a representation of truly what it can mean to be an American woman.